All right, so in this quick tutorial, what we're going to do is look at how to take a really long audio file and cut it up into little pieces. Now, I had somebody in the community ask about this, and normally I would recommend just using an audio editor and then cutting it up that way, and then you have separate audio tracks. But let's assume you don't have an audio editor. How would you do that? The cool thing is you can do this very quickly with Articulate 360 if you're using the Studio app. So if you've never used Studio, I'm going to show you where you can locate that. And when you open up the desktop app, you'll notice Studio right here. If you haven't installed it, you would just click on Install. What it's going to do is it's going to install 3 applications. There's Presenter, which is a PowerPoint add-in, and then you have Quizmaker and Engage. We're not going to cover everything about Studio. If you want to learn more about Studio, we do have a on-demand webinar you can watch, and we go through all the details of using that. But what we are going to do is use Presenter, which is inside of PowerPoint. We're going to use that as our audio editor to cut up the audio. So let's go ahead and do that. So right now I'm inside of PowerPoint. So if we look at it, I'm inside of PowerPoint. Go ahead and create a PowerPoint slide, save it, and then what you'll notice here is when you're in PowerPoint, you have this Articulate tab. And again, you need to install Studio to get that. When I click on that, that shows me all the Presenter 360 features. So a lot of things in there that are similar to what you might find in Storyline, like you have the content library. Here's the Quizmaker and Engage for simple interactions. We're not going to cover that. You don't really need to know about that for this session. The main thing we want to look at is this audio editor here. So the basic steps are going to be as follows. We're going to insert the audio file. So we have this one long audio file, and then we're going to cut it up. And the way we cut it up is we're going to create a number of slides, and each slide in a sense becomes the cut point for that separate audio track. Now what I like to do is I like to come to my slide first. I'm going to go up to Home, and I'm going to change the layout to Title Only. And then there's a couple of things you can do. We're going to use the title, the slide titles, to name our slides, and then that'll be the audio track name, so it makes it easy to know what the difference is between the tracks. So if you know what you're going to do, you can pre-title those. You can pre-do that. You can just go into, like I would use outline mode. Like you can come in here and type in, maybe the first audio clip is, product overview, right? So that's your first audio clip. And then you're going to create a second slide. I do Control M. Oops, let me click a slide, Control M. Of course, that's not working. We'll do Control D to duplicate it. All right, so we have product overview. Maybe the second slide here is going to be, features. And then maybe you have another slide here that might, oops, I don't know why that's not duplicating. Another slide here might be whatever you want it to be, right? Could be value proposition. So you can see if you title these, that's going to title the audio files. We're going to go ahead and create a few extra slides. We're just going to get rid of this, so it's just blank, and then we'll create as many slides as we need. You can create 500 slides, it really doesn't matter. Basically, the slides become your breakpoint. So I'm going to just go ahead and create a bunch of slides. So I've got a bunch of empty slides. Again, if you title the slides, you can do that before you cut them up if you know what the titles may be. If you don't know them, you can do it after you cut them up, like you're just listening. Okay, slide 1, the audio 1 is going to be this, audio 2. It's just some way to identify those tracks, because you don't want audio clip 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, because that's hard to figure out what's in there. Another way you can do this, if you go to View and you go into Outline View, you can see the slides this way. It's probably a lot faster just to type than it is to click into the slide. So a few different ways to do that. All right, let's say we've got that done. Again, you can do that at the front end, or you can do it after you've cut up all your audio. We're going to go ahead, click on slide 1, go over to the Articulate tab, and then we're going to go to Audio Editor. And then this is going to open up our audio, and you can see if I hit Show All. So what this is is these little markers here, you can see I can move them. They represent each slide. So I'm going to go to slide 1. And what I'm going to do is import that long audio track onto slide 1. So I'm going to come up to import, single file, and I happen to have a long audio track here. So I'm going to do my audio demo, hit open. This is my long audio track. So this could be an hour long, 2 hours long, really doesn't matter. And then what I want to do is listen to the audio. And then as I'm listening to the audio, I want to figure out where I want to splice that audio to create a separate track. And then if I go to show all, you can see here are my markers. And I can move my markers into position, right? So if I come back to slide 1 only, then here's the slide 2 marker, right? So if I'm listening to my audio track, and let's say at this point I know I need to have a split, I can just drag my audio track here, and I could zoom in on it, right? And then you can see you can zoom in on it. I'm just using my mouse and scroll bar, and then you can fine tune where you move that to. What's easier, and this is what I like, you just have a whole bunch of blank slides. Let's go to slide 1. You have a whole bunch of blank slides, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to start slide 1.
Many e-learning developers create multiple courses.
So maybe that's the point I want to split it. I can drag this over, but I'm just going to go ahead up here. It says set next slide, and see it moves slide 2 automatically. Then I listen.
But these courses are often very similar in content.
Pause it, set next slide, listen.
Instead of building different courses,
and then so forth. So then I would just go through and set the next slide. And so we'll just set a couple more slides here. Let's just drag this over so we can see a little bit. Actually, probably zoom in a little. So let's say I've got my audio here. I'll put that next slide. So if I do a show all, you can see I've cut up my audio track. I obviously have a lot left. And then you can see here are the empty slides. So again, you can have 200 slides, 100 slides, 50 slides, 10 slides, doesn't really matter. I just create a blank slide with 100 slides in there. Once I'm done and everything's exactly the way I want it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and we're going to file, and I'm going to do export, and you can choose WAV or MP3. I'm just going to choose MP3, and that's going to ask me where do I want to save it. I'm going to create a new file, so we'll say, audio demo, and then oops, didn't spell audio right. All right, so audio demo, that's my folder, select folder. Oops, let me click that, select folder. And now what it's going to do is it's going to export those audio clips. And then what I should see in there is all the slides that I titled. I should see the audio clips in here. So here's my folder. Let's drag that over. So here's my folder. Here's my audio demo folder. And then inside of that, you can see here slide 1 through slide 5. Again, we had a whole bunch of slides that only saved the ones with the audio on them. And now you can see here, these right here have the titles, right? The ones that I didn't title just says slide 4. And then, if you wanted to get fancy, you could probably go into one of those. There's all sorts of applications out there where you can go and say, I want to get rid of this slide number stuff, and just change the titling. But that's not a big deal. But now you've got an audio, you've got that audio track that was longer split into 5 chunks, and then if you use the slide titling, you have titles. So super simple. Again, a really quick recap. All we're doing is we're creating a bunch of blank PowerPoint slides. Then we're going to go slide 1. We're going to go audio editor. We're going to import the audio on slide 1, and then we're just going to set our slides over that audio track, and then when we export it, it's going to split those up. Hopefully that's helpful and something you can use, especially if you've never used Studio before.